some voices ain't lost. They just ain't been heard yet. In South Philly, the air carries secrets. You can hear 'em in the creak of the trolley rails, feel 'em in the cracks of old row homes, see 'em flicker in the eyes of folks who've swallowed their dreams just to survive another week. Jade knew those secrets. She kept 'em, lived 'em, born into a storm and raised in silence. Jade grew up in a tight row home on Tasker Street, with peeling paint and cold winters. Her mother, Sheila, was a nurse with 3 jobs and no time. Her father, a shadow from the past, locked up before she turned 5. The world taught her young that noise brought danger, that stillness kept you safe. So Jade became quiet, observant, distant. She filled composition books with the things she couldn't say out loud: poems, raps, letters to the father she barely remembered, screams trapped in cursive. By 16, she was invisible, a ghost in homeroom. Her teachers marked her present but never asked questions. And the city, it had its back turned like it always did. But the truth, Jade wasn't weak. She was watching, learning, boiling. After high school, Jade took a front desk job at a private law office near Center City. The firm, Belling and Grant, dealt in criminal defense, crooked politics and dirty deals disguised in suits and coffee cups. There she met Mr. Belling. He wore expensive watches and cheaper smiles, called her darling, and asked her to stay late to organize sensitive files. But she stayed quiet, like she always had. Until the night he crossed a line, she told HR. They told her there wasn't enough evidence, that without a witness, it'd be her word against his. She quit, but not before taking something with her. A flash drive, password-protected files, case notes, photos, records she knew shouldn't exist. It was a risk, a bold, wild move. But Jade had reached her limit. The next day, Belling reported a theft, and suddenly the girl no one saw became the center of attention. There was a warrant, a raid. She wasn't home. Jade had already disappeared. She moved underground, stayed in abandoned buildings and friends' couches who still remembered her from school. Some tried to help, some betrayed her. The cops didn't say what was really on the drive, but Jade knew. She'd seen evidence of bribes, illegal detentions, secret payouts, even a name or two of cops who'd disappeared, witnesses. She couldn't go to the press, not without painting a target on her back. But she also couldn't stay quiet anymore, so she turned to her old salvation: poetry. In an abandoned warehouse off Washington Avenue, Jade found an old mic, a beat-up laptop, and a pirate Wi-Fi signal. She recorded a poem and uploaded it anonymously under the name Muted. Her voice, raw and fierce, echoed across headphones and burner phones. They silenced me with paychecks, called my fear professionalism. But I got fire in my lungs now, and every verse gunburn evidence. The poem went viral in certain circles. Activists, street crews, disillusioned artists. Muted became legend. Each week, she dropped a new piece, masked voice, warped pitch. But her pain was unmistakable. I was prey in pearls, bait dressed for a paycheck. They took what I ain't offer, now I take what they protect. Meanwhile, the city hunted her. Her face showed up on wanted posters for questioning in relation to theft and data tampering. She avoided cameras, slept in the basements of safe houses run by former Panthers and underground musicians. One night, she watched a cop car circle the block 10 times before peeling off. She started tagging murals with her name, MUTED in all caps, blood red like a war cry. Kids who'd never heard poetry before now memorized her lines like scripture. One poem hit so hard it sparked protests. This city ain't broken, it was built this way. But silence is a luxury I can't afford to pay. Thousands showed up in Clark Park demanding reform, real investigations into Belling's firm. Someone leaked parts of the drive anonymously to a community newspaper. The walls began to crack. Jade's final poem came weeks later, a live event, one night only. She stood behind a black curtain, her hoodie pulled low. The crowd was packed. News crews stayed back, unsure what was about to happen. She stepped to the mic. No mask, no distortion, just her. They told me to be small, to shrink, to hush, to die slow, but I broke their silence, and I ain't sorry. I was never muted, I was just waiting to scream. Thunder, applause, tears. Later that night, a lawyer from a local justice collective came forward, offered protection, legal representation. Her case went public. Belling got arrested, so did 2 officers linked to the file. Jade's name was cleared. Now she runs workshops for teen girls who think their silence is safer than their truth. She teaches them to write, to spit, to fight back with words. She walks the same streets, but now with her chin up. Her voice? Unshakable. Moral of the story: they might run from your truth, they might fear your voice, but silence was never your destiny. It was just the pause before the revolution. Hear now the tale of young Rahim, a lad of 16 summers born and bred on the hardened blocks of North Philadelphia, where heat clings to pavement and pride spills from mouths faster than truth. In this city of cracked concrete and cracked dreams, Rahim walked tall, but carried a heavy heart, cloaked in swagger, hiding the weight of the world in every joke. He was known to jest and jab, to talk slick on corners and roast his peers with verses sharp as broken glass. And one day, in a fit of foolish glory, Rahim and his loyal crew did what none before them dared. They defiled the name of the Midnight Chains, a bike crew of legend and lore, whose wheels once rolled like thunder down alleyways and brought silence to chaos. With a spray can in hand and laughter in his lungs, Rahim left his mark upon their wall, a clown-faced tag mocking their power. Worse still, he lifted a tire from their shrine of steel, a trophy he claimed, but a curse in disguise. Word reached the chains before the sun could rise, and like ghosts summoned from smoke, they found him. "Thou hast mocked the storm," spoke the leader, a man whose silence held more weight than his words. "Now ride it. Midnight, one circuit, no brakes." Rahim's breath caught. His grin faded, his voice trembled. "But I can't ride." There was no mercy, only the challenge. So off he ran, feet pounding pavement like thunder, heart racing, head spinning. He sought salvation at the feet of Joy, his cousin, his elder, his unrelenting teacher. Joy, who once ruled the alleyways on 2 wheels, who bore no patience for cowards and no room for excuses. "Thou fool," she spat, "to dance with dragons when you can't even crawl, but you are kin, and I won't see you fall without a fight." Thus began his trial. Each day he rose before the sun and returned after dark, battered and bruised. Joy trained him with the fury of a general and the wisdom of a sage. She barked commands while sipping her iced tea, eyes never blinking, voice never soft. "Balance is not found in feet or hands, but in mind. Control thy fear, Rahim, or the streets shall consume thee." He fell and rose and fell again. Each crash was a lesson, each bruise a verse. By week's end, he could ride a block without toppling, a small miracle in a world where failure was loud and glory silent. Midnight approached. The city stirred with shadows and sirens. The cyclone awaited. Joy stood beside him in the garage, the silence between them thick. She tied a red bandana round his wrist. "This was your mother's," she said, voice catching on memory. "She beat the cyclone once, before the system took her gears. Ride now, Rahim, not for pride, but for peace." He nodded, unsure if his knees would hold, but certain he'd rather die moving forward than live standing still. The chains awaited, hooded, solemn statues in the dark. The streets shimmered beneath the moonlight, a stage set for judgment. And so he rode. The cyclone was no simple circuit. It was chaos crafted by the streets, a gauntlet of alleyways, barking dogs, flickering lights, broken glass, and sudden turns. Every breath was a prayer, every turn a test. Rahim's hands were slick with sweat. His heart beat loud as war drums. A bottle flew. He ducked. A hydrant burst. He weaved. Trash cans leapt into his path. He jumped the curb and kept flying. "I am not fear," he shouted into the dark. "I am fire on wheels. I am the cyclone." And still he rode, standing now on trembling legs, eyes burning with tears, mouth open in triumph or pain. He knew not which. He hit the final stretch, a narrow alley cut with shadows. His chain screamed, his body begged, but Rahim leaned in, gritted his teeth and pushed. He finished, screeched to a halt. The Chants surrounded him, none spoke. Then their leader stepped forward, slow and sure. He looked Rahim in the eye. You rode true, and in truth, we see respect. Joy appeared from the edge, arms open, pride in her eyes. You didn't just ride, she whispered, you rose. Weeks passed. Now Rahim rides free. Down 23rd, kids chasing behind, eyes wide, dreams louder than traffic. He pops a small wheelie just to show them the sky is never far away. I used to run from everything, he says to himself. Now I ride into it. I learned that the storm ain't always out there. Sometimes it's in you. And the only way through is to ride. And so he rides. Not just to move, but to prove. That courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move anyway. This was the tale of the cyclone and of the boy who became it.